So thank you for that leadership. Board of Ed, just please know we're in the right hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. And I see that Kristen DeGray would like to speak during public comment. Kristen, you're on.
Hello, hi everybody. Kristen DeGray, I live in Willimantic, and I'm a first grade teacher at Natchog School. I want to echo what Joanne said. Leadership is everything, and I've just witnessed some really great leadership, both at the district level and within my school, and I can't tell you how much of a difference that makes. Even though we're in a really stressful situation and we're all working hard, it's really important. And I hope and I know that our district leadership will consider the studies that have been done regarding COVID transmission in Black and Latino children. They are, I think, 8 times, Hispanic children are 8 times more likely to get sick from COVID, and I think that that needs to be taken into consideration when we're making decisions about our district. We're not like the surrounding towns, and I just really hope we're really looking out for the best interests of our community, and also considering that we're between Eastern and Yukon. So I fully trust our district leadership. I just wanted to put that out there because it kind of feels like it hasn't really been discussed. And I know it's something important that I think should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Is there anybody else who would like to speak during public comment? Okay, hearing or seeing no other hands come up, I'm going to move us on to the next item on the agenda, which is approval.
Hello, can I make a comment? I'm sorry, I was trying to figure out the mute and unmute thing.
Oh, sure. Please identify yourself. Peter,
Yes,
it is, I think.
My name is Peter Jelinas. Sorry, this is the first meeting I'm attending online. But I would just like to make a comment on the high school sports and no spectators.
Go right ahead.
I understand the safety of the students and the children are absolutely critical. But I think that it should be reviewed and allow spectators. There's a lot of other towns and other states that have much worse numbers than we have here in Windham County. And I think it could be controlled to allow parents, they could allow each student could have 2 people limit. Some other schools are going like 25% capacity. I think it's great that the kids are being allowed to play. I think this sports plays a huge role. And I just think being able to go and support the students that are playing is huge. We lost a lot in the spring. And again, Windham County has very low numbers around here. I work as a safety manager. I've been living COVID for 6 months now in 2 manufacturing plants, overseeing 400 employees. And I understand the protocols in place. I've instituted a lot of policies. And I think this could be done safely. Especially, I understand the indoor sports would be tricky, but the outdoor sports especially, there's a lot of room to social distance. I think 25% capacity is easily achievable. Whatever comes up with, I just hope you guys consider something like that, just to allow the parents or guests, whoever the kids want to invite, to go enjoy this. Everybody's had a pretty rough 6 months. That's been pretty clear. Hopefully the worst is behind us, but who knows? So I just hope you guys would consider reviewing that and coming up with a way to allow spectators to, at least for the outdoor sports, which would be much easier than indoor, to go watch and support the students that are playing. That's all.
Thank you very much. And I see in the chat that we have 2 more people who would like to speak. First, Zach, and then Raquel. Zach?
Hi, thank you. My name is Zach Knopka. I am the soccer coach at the high school. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I apologize for any background noise. I'm currently standing outside the stadium waiting to go in and watch my former athlete start his first professional game. But missing that moment proves how important this is, that I want to just reiterate how important it is that we have sports this fall, that we are allowed to continue to compete. Because the opportunity afforded to this athlete was not because he was the best or the number of goals he scored. It was because he was part of a team. It's because he had structures and accountability put in place. And those structures and accountability are more important now than ever. If we vote to eliminate sports or not to continue with competition, it's going to eliminate structures and accountability from all of our students. I understand that student health and safety is first and foremost the most important thing, and I just want to ensure you that I, as a coach, share that. But also, if we stop playing sports, if we're not allowed to compete, it's going to be detrimental to the social, emotional, and physical health of our students. As Coach Prose says, we're not coaching sports, we're out here saving lives. Sports can change people's lives, and being a part of a team can change people's lives. I'm here to tell you that the protocols are working. And what else is working are the students. They're ensuring that their teammates are following protocols and keeping everyone safe. The state has shown that they're not going to hesitate to cancel or change a season, unfortunately, with football, if they don't feel that it is safe. So with the state saying that we are safe enough to play sports following all the protocols, I feel that I fear that a vote to eliminate or cancel competitions this fall is going to be detrimental to the future of our students, not just because of scholarships and college opportunities, which is definitely something that should be considered. We have many student athletes that sports was an important part for them to be able to go to college. And we should think about those students as well. But most importantly, we've seen how students can benefit from sports and being part of a team, and how being on a team can change a student's life. And I thank you for letting me speak this evening.
Thank you, Zach, and what a great event you're at.
Yeah, it's super exciting. I can't wait to go in.
Well, have a great time.
Thank you.
And the next speaker is Raquel.
Hi, good evening. This is Raquel Luna. I'm a resident in Windham, in Willimantic, and I have 3 kids that attend Windham Public Schools. And I was just wanting to speak because I haven't really heard anything about plans going forward for October and possibly returning back to school full time. I think everything so far has been going relatively smoothly with the kids in school, and I know my kids are eager to go back more than just 2 days a week. So I'm just excited to hear what the plans are moving forward for our town, and also like what mitigation strategies we're going to have to just keep everything moving in a positive direction. And that was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Raquel. I see that Randall Prose would like to speak.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes?
So here I am again. We're still trying as the football coach. It's been a crazy ride. Our poor students have been through hell and high water. We've been told we're playing, and we're not playing. We're told we're playing, and then we're not playing. Oh, we'll let you play. Oh, no, you're not playing. So currently there's no 11-on-11 tackle football, as you know. I have a great bunch of kids. I have like 27 kids that still show up every day. Not very many seniors. The seniors are kind of frustrated. They've kind of opted out. We still come in every day. They work out together. They're a family. And we have aspirations of playing one-hand touch football. I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth. But that's the reality of where we are today. And I love these kids. They still come together every day, and they're looking forward to playing Griswold this week. I spoke to the Griswold coach. He's an amazing man. He's been coaching for 30 years there, mentoring the youth of his community. And interestingly enough, the two of us play smash, mouth, tackle football. We don't even like to throw football, but we're still holding the kids together. And it's a great thing for our community. The coaches and everyone show up every day. So I hope you'll afford us that opportunity to do something with the students this fall to keep them together as a family and at least compete and have some fun as a football community. I won't call it a football team, but it's a football community now. And I'm so proud of the students for coming in every day and being positive, and they wear their masks in practice. We social distance. It's really been a lot to ask of the kids, but hopefully we'll get to do that. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Randall. Is there anybody else who would like to speak during public comment? Okay, I don't hear or see anybody, so we're going to move on from public comment to item number 3 on the agenda, which is approval of Board of Education meeting minutes. And I'll entertain a motion to approve the August 19th, 2020 special meeting minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Mark. Do I get a second?
Second by Tracy.
Second
No,
by
I
Tracy.
moved it. I don't know.
Well, you both did it at the same time, so
Okay.
don't
Give it to
fight
Hilda.
over who.
She
made
deserves
the
it.
motion.
Give it to her.
Yeah,
Give
just
it to
second.
Hilda.
I'm just keeping us moving, guys.
Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the August 19th minutes? Okay, all those in favor will have to vote by roll call. Which
Okay,
Janet will
good.
take over.
Good evening. Vote for Ms. Haney.
So moved. I
Dr. Gomez.
Aye.
Dr. Cabanowen.
Aye.
Ms. Lambert.
Aye.
Ms. Ray.
Aye.
Mr. Doyle.
Aye.
Dr. Galucci.
Aye.
Ms. Ide.
Aye.
Ms. Dunick, have you joined us?
No, I don't see her.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is, I'll entertain a motion to approve the August 20th, 2020 special meeting minutes.
So moved, Tracy.
Moved by
Second,
Tracy,
Paula.
seconded by Paula. Any discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call. Thank you, Janet.
Ms. Haney.
Aye.
Dr. Gomez.
Aye.
Dr. Cabanowen.
Aye.
Ms. Lambert.
Aye.
Ms. Ray.
Aye.
Mr. Doyle.
Aye.
Dr. Galucci.
Aye.
Ms. Ide.
Aye. And next, August 26th, 2020 meeting minutes. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Hilda made the motion. Who seconded it?
Second.
Second
Mark.
by Mark. Any discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call. Janet, please.
Ms. Haney.
Aye.
Dr. Gomez.
Aye.
Dr. Cabanowen.
Aye.
Ms. Lambert.
I'm abstaining.
Ms. Ray.
Aye.
Mr. Doyle.
Aye.
Dr. Galucci.
Aye.
Ms. Ide.
Aye.
Thank you.
And then finally, I'll entertain a motion to approve the September 3rd, 2020 special meeting minutes.
So moved by Tracy. Lambert.
Second by Katina.
Seconded by Katina, moved by Tracy Lambert. Any discussion? We'll do a final roll call on minutes. Janet?
Ms. Haney.
Aye.
Dr. Gomez.
Aye.
Dr. Gabon Owen,
Aye.
Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Ms. Ray,
Aye.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Dr. Galucci,
Aye.
Ms. Ide.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Next thing up on the agenda is the superintendent's reports, and I'll hand it over to Dr. Tracy Youngberg.
Thank you, Lynn. I just want to start off and make sure that I celebrate the entire organization. We are on day 12 of the school year. As I was mentioning to someone at the beginning of this meeting, it feels like much longer than that. They are working incredibly hard to make sure the kids are safe and that they themselves are safe in our building. So I just want to shout out, everyone is doing things that they never imagined doing before. So I know I see heads bobbing. So I just want to celebrate the whole organization for pulling together and really working hard to make sure that everyone stays as healthy as possible. I know we don't speak directly to things that are mentioned in public comment, but I know that there's the need for people to understand the reopening plans. Just to bring the board back up to speed, we are scheduled to be in the hybrid model through Friday, October 9th. And then we have Columbus Day or Indigenous People Day, and then a Professional Development Day. And then on October 14th, which is a Wednesday, we're supposed to come back fully in person. We learned on Friday, just a few days ago, that we have the ability to make some local decisions as it relates to reopening. So we're in the sort of data gathering phase right now. I started my meetings with my principals today to start walking through what it might look like if we were to open fully in person. I plan on pushing out surveys at the end of the week to our staff, our older students, and our families to find out how they're feeling. Would they come back if we open fully in person? Would that move more families to go fully virtual or have more people come back? We're really not sure yet. So we're in the data gathering phase. I hope to have some information to share with the board. It would be great if I had information to share, this time next week, or possibly by the end of next week. But I just want everybody to know it's definitely on my mind. I know that, as you all know, I have kids of my own, and I make every decision thinking about, would this decision be good enough for my own children, because they're somebody's babies, right? So we are definitely in the data gathering phase, and I will keep the board up to speed and the staff members as well. So just know that it's also on my mind. So, which is why I reached out to the State Department of Ed to find out if we could have some local control. So, which we were happy to hear, we do have the ability to make some of those decisions. So more to come on that. Also, just before I forget, board members, we have the schedules for the administrators and the secretaries union negotiations. If there's anyone on the board who's interested in being part of those negotiations, you should reach out directly to Stephanie. Again, that's the secretaries and the administrators negotiations. Contact Stephanie if you're interested in being a part. All right, just an update for the board on the alternative school program and our employee satellite school / daycare. I think you're all aware, but the lease agreement we tried to secure with the St. Mary's St. Joseph School fell through. We just could not get our attorneys to agree on how we could go into that arrangement. We found an alternative site for the satellite school, and we continue to see kids, anywhere between 8 to 16 children who are the children of our own employees, go to satellite school every day, and some are actually in our early childhood center. So that's been a wonderful arrangement. And I have to shout out to the before and after school program coordinators and assistant coordinators. I know Niels, everyone, they took on a role that, well, it was completely unexpected, like many of the things this year, and have been manning this particular program, which allows our staff members to come to work, which is it's a win-win all around. So I want to just celebrate the before and after school coordinators and the workers from that department who have been supporting that process. And Suzanne Craw also gets a shout out. She helped us pull that thing together at the very just days, right, or the Friday before school started. We pulled it together and found a new location. So we appreciate their efforts. Also, along those same lines, you probably saw, if you follow us on Facebook, that we have the core program actually functioning out of our central office conference room right now. We are going to be relocating it to the middle school shortly. but I want to celebrate Pupil Services, Suzanne Craw and Pupil Services for putting together that program as quickly as it was done. Those students come every day, including Wednesdays. They're here. I say good morning to them every day I walk in. They're working hard at their computers in the conference room. It's kind of amazing to watch. We're really proud of them. So that was something we also pulled together. And remember, for the board members, that this is sort of a win-win in that it allows the opportunity for our students to get the high school credits they need to graduate. At the same time, it's putting us in a better position in terms of having to pay outside tuition to get them what they need. So this is a win-win, and I'm really proud of everyone who's been involved in that. And we'll keep you updated when on the move, the more permanent move to the middle school. Right now, the satellite school is temporarily housed in the band rooms and band and music room in the middle school, but we found a location that we're working on getting cleared out. And thank you to facilities for doing all the work of moving stuff out of those rooms to prepare them. So it's been a collaborative effort, and go team. Next in my report is just to let the board members know that we did get notification that we were approved to receive the ECS 2% set aside. So that money, which must be spent under the guidelines of Title I, hasn't arrived to the district yet, but it's coming. We met whatever the expectations were to have the funds sent to us. Next in my report is just the update on student attendance, and I had sent the board members the first week's attendance, and I want to thank April and Joanne in our data office for doing an amazing job of quickly gathering this data for us. Attendance has some unusual, I'm going to let Mr. Weathers jump in and explain it to you, but attendance now, if you can imagine, because we have kids in class in person, and then we have kids who are strictly virtual, and then we have the rotation of them coming in and out. Attendance has changed a little bit, so I'm going to let Neil give you the details, but we are tracking every single student's engagement, whether they're at home or in person. Mr. Weathers?
So we received addendum 14 from the state of Connecticut on attendance. We received it about week 2 or 3 of the school year. So I'm just giving you a little context. As taking attendance is a developing project. So basically, attendance for our students that are in person is the same as it's always been. We're crediting it the same way. Where it gets tricky is on Wednesdays when all of our students are virtual, and most of that learning is asynchronous, meaning not live teaching necessarily. And then on the days for our virtual students the rest of the time, as well as our cohort A and B on their virtual days, how we take attendance. So we have guidance from the state, which basically says if we have some combination of them doing synchronous live work and asynchronous work that totals a half day or more, that is counted as attendance. So that invariably, that short little wordy sentence I just said creates a lot of different scenarios and variants and situations that we're working out, but that is the general guidance we have from the state, where we are required to take attendance 5 days a week, and we actually normally report out so many times a year, are now reporting out every week to the state. And what they're really interested in is the number of fully virtual learners and those that are attending. They're worried about losing students that are disconnected for entire weeks at a time, which makes a lot of sense. So we're reporting that as well. There's been some questions from staff naturally on certain variations of when a day of attendance counts and when it doesn't. So we're handling those, and the guidance there from the state is, well, it's helpful. It's also sometimes vague. So we're working out our district guidelines of how to approach each situation. So I think that's our best current update.
Thank you, Mr. Weathers.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Before I go on, I noticed Mr. Camacho's on the call, and I didn't actually celebrate you, Mr. Camacho, because you're obviously involved in the whole satellite school daycare piece, instrumental in moving that forward. So I forgot to leave you off there. I forgot. Sorry about that. Okay, moving right along, just to bring the board up to speed. I think you're aware of the backpack rollout that we did at Rec Park. They handed out some 700 backpacks from Willimantic Cares. And that's actually when the governor and lieutenant governor stopped by to see us. We also had another donation from Willimantic Cares of water bottles to Windham Center and North Windham School. And we are in the process of partnering with Windham Cares to roll out our winter coats. We received a large donation from Operation Warm last, I guess it was last spring or winter. So we'll be rolling out those coats this year. So more to come on that. Also want to thank the Church of the Holy Family in Hebron. They donated 550 hand-sewed masks. So we're very appreciative of those, and they're being pushed out to schools to have extra masks available for staff members if they need them. And the next piece is an update on school sports, which you know from public comment is a hot topic tonight. So I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to ask James Thompson. James still on the call, our athletic director.
I'm here. Hi.
All right, so I'm going to advance through and let you talk through them.
Okay, so just to start off, I couldn't be more proud of our coaching staff up at the high school. I think they've done an excellent job. Following the CIAC guidelines, I've been actively communicating with them this summer, giving them updates on what practices are supposed to look like at a specific timeline. Definitely, we have to encourage the social distancing. When they're working out, there's, outside, there's an opportunity to take their masks off, for a brief time. And then when they're back together as a team, everything, their masks come back on, we have a great athletic trainer too, who's also been helping out in some strategies too. But just summing it up, I'm really proud of our staff and looking forward just to talking tonight a little more to fill in the board. So what we're going to do in this presentation is just kind of go by each sport and where we're currently at and when the first game of play would be. So just to start off first, our men's and women's soccer team, this is considered a medium impact activity. We have a scrimmage if we're given the go to play on Saturday. Every team that will be playing this year is regional. It's within the ECC. We also took on a few communities that are within the ECC, the tech schools in Parish Hill. The regular season would start on Thursday next week, October 1st. The current phase that we're in, which started on September 21st, practice time is limited to no more than 90 minutes. Full team practices are allowed at full speed. In addition, coaching can be done online, virtual. Athletes are to wear their mask when not engaged in rigorous activity. Social distancing is still emphasized throughout the practice. When they're like, pep talks, stuff like that, when given instruction in the form of downtime. Coaches are required to wear their masks throughout the practice. Reiterating on the 26th, that would be a time that we are allowed to start scrimmaging, and the length of a practice would be 2 hours. So just give an example, if we're scrimmaging, no matter what the score is, it would be done at that time, at the 2 hours. And just one of the things too, when we get to gameplay, or in this case, there's scrimmage, there is a limitation set forth by the ECC, which is our governing body, the Eastern Connecticut Conference, and they have limited it, in this case to our sport, would be 20 athletes per game. All right. We really don't have that problem, unlike some of the other ECC schools, which have more, sub-varsity offerings. But, when we just say, when the boys travel to Parish Hill, they would be limited to 20. Dr. Youngberg, next slide, please.
Sure, and just to make sure the board members understand, the men's and women's soccer has been sanctioned by the CIAC. There's no question about that, correct?
Yes. The only sport that is not being sanctioned right now is 11-on-11 football. I'm sorry, yeah, it's not being, it's the 7-on-7, but I'll get into that later.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Volleyball, this is one of the sports that was discussed by the Department of Public Health, and it was considered a medium impact sport, but one of the, the girls were, the sport of volleyball was given the go because the girls will be wearing their masks during their competition. The concern of the interactions in between plays, the moving around throughout the court. The players will be wearing their masks. When they're indoors right now, they have it on throughout the entire practice. There are some times that they will go outside and condition. That would be a time that if it was rigorous activity, they would be able to take it off for that time. Practice is very similar to soccer, limited to 90 minutes this week. And full team practices are allowed at full speed. In addition, coaching can be done online. It's basically the same as soccer, but obviously it's indoors and the masks have to be worn. On September 26th, that's when we can start going to 2-hour practices. The girls have a scrimmage scheduled for next Tuesday, and the most that they can take suit up for a competition on the day of for varsity would be 24. If they travel, they can't bring any more than 24 athletes to that event. All right. Any other questions? If not, next slide. Men's and women's cross country. This is considered low impact by the DPH. Their first regular season competition would be 2 Saturdays from now. Right now, their practice is limited to 90 minutes. On Saturday, they can go to a longer practice of 2 hours. When they're not engaged in rigorous activity, they will wear their masks. It's a lot easier with this sport because of the level of impact, but Coach Howard has been emphasizing the social distancing, and coaches are wearing their masks. So just in a race too, we have some protocols that are in place. So, if I'm racing somebody, the person next to me would be 5 feet apart. We're spreading the line out, and we would limit it to about 10 people per line. And then the next wave of athletes would come through, and they would be 6 feet from the next person. So our conference of athletic directors has really set the bar that some of the other conferences in the state are currently following. Some of the stuff I'll get into a little later. But 20 athletes are limited. We're limited to 20 athletes. That's not really a problem because we do have low numbers on our cross-country team. But any questions? If not, next slide. Football. So this is going to be one of the big discussions. And, once again, I tip my cap off to Coach Prose and his staff, who have done a great job guiding the students. And they really do make a true impact, especially as all of them are Windham natives. First game would be this Friday. It would be against Griswold. And, it would be 7-on-7. There would be a 7-on-7 one-hand touch game, and there would be lineman offerings where the coaches, Coach Prose and Coach Wilcox at Griswold will speak tonight, and they'll come up with some drills that that our Whippets and their Wolverines can go at it as far as performing a skill with like a pad or sprinting, something that's strength related. But there would be no contact between the two teams. So in the current phase right now, full team practice, 90-minute limit, very similar to the other sports. Coaching can be done online, and the athletes are wearing their masks throughout the entire activity. So when they're playing, if they're conditioning, they can take their masks off, which means they're not engaged in like physical contact. But if they're in when right now, since they're going at full speed, the players are wearing their masks. All right. Whenever the coaches are giving instruction, they are keeping the athletes, the social distancing is in effect. And the coaches are wearing their masks throughout the practice. football for a contest would be limited to suiting up 40. And, thank you, Dr. Younger, for putting this in. But the Department of Public Health for Connecticut has recommended that the CIAC develop an alternative plan other than 11 on 11, which would be full contact that would be tackling, blocking. The alternative plan was not to have pads or any of the contact as far as the tackling and blocking, but a recent plan was developed to have weekly skills challenges between the school opponents, and there will be a 7-on-7 one-hand touch game. Throughout the time of the contest, all players will be required to wear their masks, no blocking, tackling. This plan has been recognized as medium impact and has been approved by our local Department of Public Health. The CIAC has indicated that they are not sanctioning it. However, they are supporting it. The sanction, for some who don't understand. So I'll give an example. Last year, we had a state open for wrestling. And, we have men and women that competed in that state tournament. There was a women's state open that was contested. It wasn't sanctioned, but it was supported by the state. Then, when I started coaching here in Windham, the pole vault was coming into play, and it wasn't sanctioned, but it was approved and supported by the CIAC at the time. But we were able to speak to our local Department of Public Health because we are responsible, to put together a medium to low impact activity offering for football in place of the situation we're in with no 11 on 11 and full contact. Just to go to the next slide, please. This is just a little about the 7-on-7. Credit the coach, Jimmy Bonacore at Ledyard, who is in the ECC, and he has basically designed this entire contest that now it was voted by the FCIAC, all the Fairfield schools. It was voted today that they will be playing through this format. And the SCC has already been approved, and I think there will be some others that will follow foot once the news gets out. So it's very similar. It's a standard 100-yard football game. There's the scoring format's the same. One-hand touch is when the play will be done. Other examples, if there's when there is kickoff, the players will be running down the field. The kicking team will run down the field, but they are not. The receiving team will not be blocking. It's basically going to be like lanes they're going to set up, and we're going to have to try and figure their way through. And when the player is touched, the play ends. Throughout the game, the coaches will be instructed. I mean, there will be cleaning portions when the kids go to the side. They'll be, they should be cleaning their hands periodically when they can. The ball should be cleaned. The ball will be cleaned off periodically throughout during the game. We want to ensure the safety of the kids. We are asked that social distancing be on the sideline. That is something that's gonna be tough, but the kids are not used to it, but they will get used to it. All right, we're gonna do whatever it takes for an opportunity to be able to play the 7-on-7 and have the lineman challenge. Other than what's listed here, it's very standard, like a game. The lineman challenge actually does count as a part of the score, and so that's a pretty cool, opportunity where a lineman can contribute. Usually, it's the backs that get to run the ball or get the passes. So, but the lineman can be a part of the score too. So, next slide, possibly, if that's there. These are some of the lineman challenges. Coach Pros will be talking to the head coach of each team they'll be playing each week, and they'll decide on a few activities. Some of the activities actually will be related to if a kid is interested in competing in college. They might put together a 40-yard dash or potential like a bench press competition. There are some other things here, a one-man sled push. But these are just some of the choices that the coaches can make. And if you look at all of them, there's no contact between the players and their opponents. Great activities that were designed. Is there anything else out there? If you have any other questions, definitely let me know. We are following the guidelines currently set by the CIAC, and let's just say this: we do have a tracing strategy already set up where, just say Friday night, Griswold will come, will come to our school, and they will have a list of everybody that will be on their sideline. The coaches, if they bring a trainer, and the name of the athletes that are there. So if there were to be a situation where there was somebody might have been exposed, we would obviously follow a particular format. All right. But this is what was asked, by the State Department of DPH to put together, an activity to offer our football players. I think it was well done. And, if you have other questions, please let me know.
Thank you, James. We're not going to get into a lot of discussion here because we have the sports issue on the discussion items, but I will entertain questions regarding this presentation from board members at this time. And Tracy Lambert, you indicated that you had a question.
Hi, Tracy.
Hey, Coach Thompson. You know that I'm a huge supporter of sports in Windham, and I absolutely want to see all of our kids participate that can. I'm just concerned about, and you addressed some of it, keeping track of who was on the sidelines and stuff like that for contact tracing. Also, busing. How is that going to work? Because there's a limited number of buses that are, limited number of students that can go on a bus right now in theory. And I want to make sure that we're keeping them as safe as we can the whole time.
I will follow the, the protocol as to how many, whatever the bus limitation is. I will talk with, Ms. Youngberg, and, we can go over that. I'm not sure what the numbers are, but, I will get 2 buses if necessary.
Okay.
And there is a format. I know I did speak with Melissa at M&J. I know, like, the first person that goes on the bus goes to the back. And then when they evacuate, the first person on the bus, at the front will evacuate first, and the last person at the back is last. They wear their masks throughout the time. When we get those rules, if we're given the go, we will read it to our athletes and make sure that they're following it.
Okay. When you say 26 students, like for volleyball, is that both teams? So 13 and 13, or 26 per team?
It would be 26 per team. So you wouldn't see, so just say when volleyball plays, you wouldn't see all 26 on the sideline. You will see, like, the junior varsities would play. So, that's going to be up to the coach as to how they want to distribute their athletes and utilize them that day. So maybe, coach will sit up 12 or 13 for the varsity game and the other half for the JV. So the JV kids will be over on the bleachers, spread out, cheering their team on. And, the varsity team would be vice versa when JV is going on.
And then one more question, then I promise
Sure.
I won't go to you anymore.
You're not, it's fine.
How are you keeping equity in the students that are playing? If, 7 can play, say on football, are we making sure that everybody gets the opportunity to play? Or are we going to have, the other 20 sitting the bench for the entire time? Because that's not worth our time, and it's not worth opening them up to the contact of being around the other teams and, in bus close proximity to other students and stuff like that. I'd like to make sure there's some equity in the number of students that, come out to practice every day and the number of students that actually get to find some field time. And, this has been something I've been concerned about for a while, so.
Yep, that's a great question. I have, so with the football, okay, so just say the football, the linemen are going to have all the linemen will have an opportunity for that challenge. We also do have, when there's opportunities, we will play junior varsity games against certain teams. I'm actually, if approved tonight, I'm probably going to have to bring up the topic to some of the ECC schools because, we just lost 2 tech schools. They will not be participating in our league. So, I need to find some more, I will probably talk to the athletic directors in the ECC and we'll pick up some more JV games. Some of our opponents, they do have teams, but we will have plenty of JV offerings for football, for for soccer. Even for our girls soccer team right now, pending our numbers, if, we may look to just play 7-on-7 rather than a full 11-on-11, but we will provide opportunities. In cross country, everybody has that opportunity because of our numbers. Cheerleading, everybody will, when they're out there, hey, they'll be social distancing and all the girls will be a part of the team, but they don't really have a large team right now.
Well, I've just seen cases where, students have gone to all the home games and all the away games and spent a lot of time on the bench. And if that's the case, then they either need to be cut or only go to half the games or something like that, because there's no need to expose them all repeatedly if they're not going to see any play time.
One of the things too, we need to really be grateful if we get an opportunity to be out there. And, we just want our kids out there to have, opportunities to play and, set some goals here and, carry on to the classroom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question.
Jaime has a question, and then Hilda has a question.
I read today, when I read about the 7-7, but it is my understanding that half of the team could not play 7-7. So what is, that addresses Mrs. Lambert's question. There will be, football players that will not get to play in 7-7. How will you address that?
Well, with the 7-on-7, right now, the Windham football team is at about like 25 to 30. So, not all, we do have about 12 linemen or so that are on the team, and they'll be participating in the lineman challenge. And for the 7-on-7, that usually there will be a center there, but it also features more of the players like, running backs, wide receivers, and quarterbacks. So they'll get those opportunities there. That's what more the 7-7 is based on. Like I said, the great thing about this is that the linemen will be able to contribute in ways where there's strength and speed, and what they earn out for points in the challenge will be a part of the score. So it's not going to be just about touchdowns. It's going to be about, Robbie, how he did on the sled. And if Robbie won the sled, that we'll get some points there. And one of the great things about these lineman challenges too, we'll look at make them repetitive, because that's how the kids can really track their improvement as part, when they're being a part of the team.
In summary,
We're not getting into discussion here. Do you have a question?
In summary, they will be all participating.
They will all be participating in one way, shape, or form. And if some aren't in varsity, they'll be in JV.
Okay. Hilda, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. So now, hi, Mr. Thompson. So the question is, would we be able to participate on the sidelines? Will we be able to sit in the bleachers and watch them?
There were clear guidelines on sidelines that were sent to the board in the board packet. And they're clearly out, their rules. James, do you want to say anything about that? Because I know it was brought up in public comment also.
Yes, that's why I asked.
So there's those three things I'll discuss. One of is if two things. So if we do not have spectators, all right, we can, right now I've been approved. I did apply for 2 Pixel-Lock cameras. We got 2 free Pixel-Lock cameras that are of $5,000 value. And right now they can watch it, when they're installed, someone can, you would sign up for the NFHS network, and you can view games from Callahan Gymnasium and Ferrigno Field. So it would be a high def broadcast where you can watch the game from your very own home or your phone. That would be an option. However, if we decide to go with spectators, the ECC has spent a lot of time in discussion, with the athletic directors and the administrators. And so right now, what some schools, I'll say Stonington, I do talk to their AD a lot. They have a limitation of 2 spectators per athlete. And Stonington parents or the fans would only, those individuals would only be allowed to attend the home games. They wouldn't be allowed to attend the visiting team. There are basically in ECC right now, it's like half and half. Norwich Free Academy, my alma mater, they are not allowing spectators at their games that are going to be held on campus. There are some sites that people go to. Windham's not one. There are some outside sites where sub-varsity competitions or cross-country are contested, and those are tough to control. But when they're on our campus, I think we're going to need a decision made as to whether you want to allow spectators or not. I just want to be ready for it because I want to get signs up and, set the limitations and, have your support as to which way we go. Is that okay?
Thank you. Thank
you. So that is one of the things we'll need to discuss when we have discussion later on. Are there any other questions? I have one question regarding use of bathrooms and locker room facilities.
So right now, okay, so let's just say if you're a visiting team, they've already been, the visiting team's already instructed, you are going right to the playing field and your area. At halftime, you can meet on the sideline or like on, one of the end zones. So that would apply for your typical outdoor team. I did order I do have a rental ready, or 2 rentals. I'll probably end up getting 2 now. 2 Porto rentals that would be for our visiting teams. We do have plenty of cleaning supplies that are offered to the players, for when they were using their helmets. But I have spoken to, the areas are addressed every day. They are cleaned, but, I think that's the one thing I will look into that a little more, but, the bathrooms,
So they will use portable bathrooms and not use the locker room?
The visiting teams shouldn't be using the home team's locker rooms.
Right, but they will also not be using the bathrooms.
They won't be using our bathrooms.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we're gonna move on this. At this point, I want to bring up the fact that we received at about, well, I didn't see it until about 5:45 today because it came in while I was driving home from work. Communication from our attorney, that's attorney-client privileged communication regarding school sports. And so I'm going to ask right now for an addition to the agenda, a motion to include after the committee reports and before discussion items, an executive session based on attorney consultation. And I would like a motion from the board to add that item to the agenda right now.
This is Katina, so moved.
Tracy, second.
Moved by Katina, seconded by Tracy Lambert. Any discussion? Okay, we're going to do a roll call vote, Janet, to add that item to the agenda, which is executive session based on attorney consultation.
Ms. Haney.
Aye.
Yes. Dr. Gomez.
Could the person who, Kathy, could you please put yourself on mute?
I know.
Thank you.
Dr. Caban-Owen.
Aye.
Ms. Lambert.
Aye.
Ms. Ray.
Aye.
Mr. Doyle.
Aye.
Dr. Galucci.
Aye.
Ms. Ide.
Aye. So that means that when we get to that item on the agenda, we will put the Zoom meeting on hold and the board will get off of the Zoom meeting and get onto a conference call. I texted you all the phone number for you to call into the conference line. And then when we're done with our executive session, we will come back to the Zoom meeting and the Zoom meeting will resume. Okay, thank you. So now we're on to committee reports. Finance and audit, Mark?
Yes, okay, we met right before this meeting. We did review the 2021 2% notification, which we just got in the report. We looked at the year-to-date financials. They're still waiting for a lot of the $10 million worth of grant money to get put into the budget. Rita has broken out the bus and the tuition costs so that we can see exactly where that money is going in terms of special ed and transportation out of the district. So we had that sort of detail. We looked at the impact of the opening because of the hybrid, but we're going to get a more detailed report in terms of the expenses we've had for COVID. So we know exactly what it's costing us above and beyond our budget for the COVID. And that report will be available next week, and we should have something available for next Wednesday's Board of Finance meeting where they're going to also discuss it. We want to keep them appraised of what we're spending. And then we reviewed the Alliance and the Priority School District Consolidated Grant application. It's been granted, and there was a write-up of where the money is going. And I believe, Lynn, we're going to accept that tonight at tonight's meeting, or we decided we
Yes,
didn't
we're gonna add after the committee reports, we'll add a couple items to the agenda for action, and that would be accepting that.
Okay. All right, and the other thing we discussed was we recently received an IRS penalty letter that had to do with filing of some forms from 2018, and we discussed the process and why it happened and how it's not going to happen again, and that we are appealing any sort of penalty for that. This is not the penalty for the health insurance or the Obamacare reporting that was previously noted. This was just had to do with primarily computer glitch in terms of matching up Social Security numbers and W-2s and making sure all the lines matched up. And because of a merger of systems, we had a problem there. And finally, we looked at the board policies for transfer of funds, and it was decided that Rita and I will work on some specific language so that we have some actual numbers of what amount of money needs to be given, we need to look at for transfers, and the difference between transferring within a budget line as opposed to from one budget line to another. And that's what we talked about.
Are there any questions for Mark? Okay, so we'll be entertaining a motion at the end of the committee reports to add under action items number 4 to accept Alliance and Priority School District Consolidated Grant application funds. But we'll hold on that because we're going to be adding something else to the agenda, which we'll hear about under school planning and design. So Tracy Lambert, you're on.
We've had 2 meetings since the last time we had a Board of Ed meeting that reported about committees. And in the first one, we got a preliminary report from Colliers, and we went through school by school, things that needed to be addressed and things that they were working on. And in the second one, which was last night, we officially had the commissioning report, and we went over what's going on in the different buildings for those who didn't know. I also had a brief meeting with Dr. Youngberg, Ms. Tamakos, and Ryan and Mark from the maintenance department of Windham Public Schools. And we talked about the completion of the things that needed to be done in the buildings. Most of the elementary schools are at 90% or better. All of the elementary schools are at 90% or better on the checklist that we had to do for air quality and movement of air within the buildings to keep it safe during COVID. The middle school has a few small concerns. I think we said they were about 80%. The high school is our biggest concern still. because everything on the roof for ventilation is original to the building, which not only is old, but lets us know that parts aren't available for them anymore. They've been, updated and upgraded in other places, and parts aren't available. So we've had some difficulties with that. So those are some of the concerns that we're looking at. Barrows is okay. There's some control systems that are being worked on by B&G, the contractor who installed them. Everything is going really well on that. The big concern is that cold weather is coming, and some windows are going to need to be closed at some point because students are going to freeze to death. In some buildings, when you turn on the heating system, the dampers outside the building close to keep the building warm, and therefore there's no fresh air circulating through. So being that the high school is the biggest issue for us, I'm going to ask, we talked about it last night at the committee meeting, but I was the only board member on it. So we're going to ask to add to the agenda permission to give Dr. Youngberg the okay to sign a $50,000 contract, which is over our normal threshold due to COVID, which we gave her permission May or June, I think, to go ahead and give permission for COVID related things, to BT Lindsay, which is a HVAC company. They are going to give us a engineer slash helper who knows our high school building and most of our other buildings intimately. They don't have to start from scratch. They don't have to relearn our buildings. And that's for $30,000 of that is for the person. He will work for 30 straight days within our building, helping Ryan and Mark identify things that need to be updated. They also have relationships with vendors that can supply parts or get parts made or figure out new parts to put in to make our building much more ventilation happy. And then $20,000 of that $50,000 is going to be for an open PO to be able to source those parts and things that we need to try and get our building as ventilated as possible, especially with the cold weather coming. Today being a little bit different than the past 2 days, they have started boilers at different buildings, and there's, as is every fall when we start boilers for the first time and stuff like that, there are little gremlins that have gotten into our system that they're trying to work out at the same time as trying to make sure the ventilation's still working. So it's a big ball of wax they're trying to handle all at once. And then Mark and Ryan were quick to remind me that as soon as it snows, maintenance and custodial staff have to go outside and do snow removal, which would take them away from heating and ventilation as well. So I'm asking to have added to the agenda at Lynn's purview a motion to allow Dr. Youngberg to sign off on a $50,000 contract with BT Lindsay for the personnel and the PO. And we acknowledge that depending on what Lindsay recommends, it can come back to school planning and design and or the board. The PO may actually have to go up, but we're crossing that bridge when we come to it right now. We're keeping it open at $20,000. So that's the first part. And then the second part, Dawn Tamakos reported that the town has given us the go-ahead to purchase the drinking fountains that are the fountains on the bottom, but the water bottle filler on top. As Dr. Youngberg says, we've had donations of water bottles, and we're encouraging our students to bring water bottles to school because water fountains are off limits as far as like people putting their mouths up against them. So if they can fill their water bottles. The high school only has 2 water bottle fillers because that was supposed to be part of the renovation and will be part of the renovation. So Ms. Tamakos is going to add a couple there, some at the middle school and some at the elementary schools in different wings. So that way students didn't have to go all the way across the building to fill a water bottle. Currently the one at the high school is just outside the auditorium and down in the sports wing. And there's none in the middle, so I think she's going to put one upstairs and one downstairs in B wing, which is that central part of the school where most of the classrooms are. There's also something we're looking into right now from Titan Generations about solar panels at STEM and North Windham School. There's been some calls in and some invoices found by Rita overnight. Thank you, Rita. And getting some more information on that before we sign a contract to have solar panels put in on the ground, kind of like a solar array on the ground at both North Windham and STEM, and then we would get a discount on the electricity that they generate, or we would sell it back for a good rate. We're looking into the rates, the contract, and what it means for us. Dr. Youngberg forwarded that on to Ms. Ritter, our attorney. I think that's it. Dawn and Dr. Youngberg, if you have anything that you think I missed, feel free to jump in. And if anybody has any questions, I'll try and answer them.
I think you covered everything really well, Trace. The only thing I just wanted to reiterate to everyone that last night in our meeting, we talked, Tyler Griffin joined us, and we did say we were going to try really hard with whatever we spent on the high school, that if it could be repurposed or somehow saved, used somewhere else in the district, because we realized that we're putting money into a school that's supposed to be renovated shortly, and there's no way around it.
Right. And I also wanted to be clear that this isn't custodial or maintenance not doing their job over the past years. We have, Mark informed me that one year we moved $240,000 out of facilities into other places that it needed to be used within the district. It's just deferred maintenance, things we've kicked the can down the road because paper or whatever else came up was needed more urgently than fixing, you know, ventilation systems on a roof that we didn't know was going to be an issue with COVID because nobody saw this coming until, you know, say November, December, January last year. So that wasn't really enough time. But I don't want anybody to think that this wasn't because we didn't try, because we're not trying. Our staff has worked tirelessly since last March trying to make sure that things were done as quickly as possible. And when the report came in August, the report didn't get to us till September 18th. But when that came in, we quickly jumped on as many things as we could. And to their credit, Windham Center and North Windham are 90% done their checklist. Natchog, with the exception of one motor, is 99% done. And Sweeney, because it's had some recent HVAC updates, is already 99% done. So the middle school and the high school are our two biggest concerns, but it's not because nobody's trying. People really are out there working as hard as they can and trying to keep our buildings as clean as possible and as safe as possible, and all the other things that come in. So I just want everybody to be aware of that. I don't want any fingers pointed in any of this either. Anybody have any questions for me?
No, that was very thorough. Thank you, Tracy.
So the only action item would be to add to the agenda the BT Lindsay approval, and then to vote on that at the end if we don't mind. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Well, we'll get to those two action items to add on after the rest of the reports. Now I'm going to hand it over to Ilda, the Policy Committee. You have an update for us.
Yes. So the Policy Committee met on September 3rd for an emergency meeting regarding Policy 5117, which was the magnet lottery. The committee is in agreement that there's no reason to change the decision. We recommend to the board that the policy stays the same. And we let parents and students know that the lottery opens once a year and they may apply or reapply at that time. And as far as our next meeting, tomorrow's meeting has been postponed till next week. And we are working our regular meeting, which would have been tomorrow. We postponed it for next week for different scheduling conflicts. And we will let you know the date as soon as we come up with one. It'll either be Wednesday or Thursday of next week. The end.
Are there any questions for Ilda? Okay, seeing none, we're on to Executive Committee. The Executive Committee met, and the two major topics for discussion were planning for the board retreat, which is coming up, and also the formation of an ad hoc committee that was going to be working on the superintendent's evaluation. And that committee is made up of Mary Gallucci, Katina Cabano, and Tracy Lambert. And Mary has an update for us.
And Paula Haney.
Oh, Paula Haney, sorry, Paula.
Yes, this is the report of, we met on September 21st at 4 p.m. via Zoom, and that was the whole committee, Katina Cabano and Paula Haney, Tracy Lambert, and myself. Before Monday's meeting, all members of the Board of Education were given documentation of the State of Connecticut's 093 Superintendent Portfolio Requirements and Scoring Rubric. The portfolio requirements dovetail with many of those detailed in the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education's recommended superintendent evaluation. We discussed the tool and a timeline, as these will need to be formalized during the board retreat in October. We discussed the need to review the superintendent's goals for the district and the need to reflect on our goals as a board. I provided a worksheet for goal setting. The 093 portfolio requirements and scoring rubric gives examples of the artifacts the superintendent could provide as evidence of the completion of each goal or aspect thereof. The ad hoc subcommittee would like more information about goals before the retreat. We look forward to putting this process in place so we can have an annual review of the superintendent that highlights the achievements and considers the challenges of leading the Windham Public Schools district. I can also provide the this flow chart, the 093 portfolio requirements again, and the goal setting worksheet for the minutes if that's requested. And I would also like to make a suggestion that the Board of Education reflect upon an important goal related to committee work they have been especially involved in this year. This would be maybe before the retreat if, you know, for example, Mark Doyle and Paula Haney could specifically think about a financial goal for the district, and then there's facility goals and that Tracy and I could think about. Ilda and Katina, a policy goal, and Lynn-Ide, Lisa Dunnick, Jamie, Jaime Gomez, sorry, could think of maybe an administrative goal, but that is just a suggestion, a little homework assignment perhaps before our board retreat. So thank you, that's the report, and I welcome any questions or comments.
Are there any questions for Mary? So Mary, it would be helpful if you could make sure that you send to the chairs of the committees that request again for the goal setting before the retreat, so none of us forget it.
Okay, that's no problem.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to add 2 things to the agenda. Can we do 2 things at once? I think so. Okay. So one is to add as item number 4, to accept Alliance and Priority School District Consolidated Grant Application and the funds. And the second would be to authorize the superintendent to enter into a $50,000 contract with BT Lindsay. That's the correct name, Tracy? BT Lindsay for HVAC, for an engineer and purchasing authority for the HVAC systems. So who would like to make that motion?
I move that we add those to the agenda.
Second,
Mark
Tracy.
made the motion, seconded by Tracy. What did I hear?
Yes.
Okay, seconded by Tracy. Any discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote on that.
Ms. Haney,
Aye.
Dr. Gomez,
Aye.
Dr. Gabano,
Aye.
Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Ms. Ray,
Aye.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Dr. Galucci,
Aye.
Ms. Ide.
Aye. Thank you. So now I will entertain a motion to go into executive session based on attorney-client consultation. And I want to just say to the members that are not on the board, it will just be Dr. Youngberg joining us for executive session on this. And go ahead, Tracy.
I move we go into executive at 8:20 to talk about attorney-client privilege relating to the Board of Education.
I second it.
Motion made by Tracy, seconded by whom?
Hilda.
Ilda, okay. So any discussion on that?
Hilda, Jaime, and Paula.
Okay. Janet, I guess we
Get
need to
any
take a
points
roll
for
call on
seconding?
going into executive session.
I'm sorry, Dr. Gomez, did you want to say something before we started? Ms. Ide.
Okay. We'll do a roll call then on going into executive session.
Ms. Ide,
Aye.
Dr. Galucci,
Aye.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Ms. Ray,
Aye.
Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Dr. Cabanoen,
Nope, she must have stepped off.
She left already.
Dr. Gomez,
Aye.
Ms. Haney.
Aye.
Thank you.
So we're going to go into executive session. It's now 8:22, and we're going to put this Zoom meeting on hold. All the board members and Dr. Youngberg should step off and call into the conference. And we'll be back. Can people hear us? Give me a thumbs up if you, okay, good. So we'll just, Dr. Youngberg's back in. Pretty much everybody is in. Okay. So now we're on to discussion items. And the first discussion item is the upcoming board retreat. The board is having a retreat on Friday, October 9th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the retreat will be an in-person retreat for board members, the superintendent, and a minimal amount of staff present. And it will be held in the Bellingham Auditorium at Town Hall. As you know, that is a big room, Board of Ed members, so we can spread out, wearing our masks, being careful, and have our discussion there. Dr. Youngberg will be, you chime in if you want to, Tracy, but Dr. Youngberg will be pulling staff in via Zoom and or in person as needed, correct?
That is correct.
We will be providing lunch for folks,
Also correct.
coffee at Tracy Lambert's request.
Yeah, she wants to do a Dunkin' Donuts run. We have to work that all in. We will, though. It's on our list of things to accomplish.
I'll get it in. Don't you worry. You just tell me what you need.
I understand Neil makes a great lasagna. Can he bring that for lunch?
Neil makes homemade raviolis. I think we should go that way.
Yes and yes.
I'm simpler. Fruit, salad.
I
So,
agree.
okay, we're not going to discuss menu here, but the main items on the agenda, the main reason we're having this focus time together is to really jump in to our first look at school consolidation. That's the major topic of the agenda. And for those members of the public who might be saying, oh, darn it, I really want to hear and see all that. Obviously, we will be coming back to the public and having discussions in public, but this is our first chance just to spend some time together thinking and talking through what this will look like, what the process will look like, things of that sort. And the other thing I wanted to say is that we will be spending time discussing the superintendent's evaluation. Okay, those are the two main topics. Mark Doyle is moving that Neil be in charge of the menu. I'll leave that to Neil and Tracy to work out. But is there anybody on the board who has any questions or wants to raise any concerns or issues related to the retreat? None? Okay. If you have any thoughts and you want to talk to me before then, please do reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you, and Dr. Youngberg and I will be working on the timing and the details of the agenda. Okay. So next item on the agenda is a discussion regarding resumption of high school sports. This was put on the agenda in a very general way, but specifically what we wanted to do today was deal with football. Because as Coach Thompson laid out to us in the presentation, which was a very good and thorough presentation earlier, there are clear CIAC guidelines and rules regarding cross-country, soccer, and volleyball. And because CIAC decided not to move forward with full team regular football season, the next level was to talk about 7-on-7. So now we're going to open up for discussion among board members. And does anybody want to get started? Mark.
Yeah, I'm very concerned that the CIAC has not sanctioned this. My original thought was, when I originally heard this, I thought they had already sanctioned 7-on-7. If they don't have the fortitude or the courage to sanction this as a sport themselves, I don't see why they're trying to push the liability down to our level. I feel very bad for the kids. I've had 3 kids go through the system. 2 of my boys all play football. I understand the pull of sports, but if the CICA will not sanction the sport, I think there's just too many complications. Discussing how to handle the crowd that comes there, discussing extra costs of buses. I'm also concerned, I know when the kids play sanctioned sports, if they get hurt, there's some insurance to cover them for medical expenses. I don't know that would be the case if we're going off book, if we will, and doing an unsanctioned sport. So without the CICA putting their endorsement on this, and with the cautions of the health, I'd have to vote against doing the football. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Coach Thompson, do you have a response on the issue of sanction versus not sanction? Because okay, that is what we understand as a board right now, that it is not officially sanctioned by CIAC.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I gave an example of our wrestling this last school year. We had a state open as we have in the past, but it was also the first year that we had a separate female state open, and that was not sanctioned, but it was supported. So I'll just give an example here. Glenn Lungarini is the executive director of the CIAC. Yesterday, he did put out an email that would, to all of, the CIAC, Glenn Lungarini set out an email of the model that was put together by Coach Buonocore down at Ledyard. He's also on the football executive committee. And he sent it, he sent it to all of the ADs and all of the football coaches that this could be the model that you can follow. The FCIAC did approve that. There was an article today in Game Time CT, which covers many of our sports, that they do support the alternative, but they cannot sanction it.
Okay, so it is precisely for that reason that if we decide to move forward with 7-on-7, the board feels that we will need to work with our attorney to have a permission letter that is signed off on by the parents before their children can participate. in the sport if we decide to move forward with it tonight. I just want to put that on the table. Is there anybody else on the board who would like to say anything?
I want to ask something regarding this sanction. Okay, if it isn't sanctioned and then a kid gets hurt in a game in a 7-on-7, who would cover those expenses? Would the school, the district, have insurance to cover them, or would they have to go through the family insurance?
I don't know. Does anybody in the administration or staff know the answer to that?
I don't know, but my child was hurt with a head concussion when he was in sports while at the high school, and it was covered by our insurance. It didn't even occur to me that I was gonna look for a payment from the school system. I would like to add that if the director of the I don't know the nomenclature very well, CIAC has supported it and said that that is a possible model, that we have that to also back us up. And I would, with the proviso that we have a letter, a detailed letter to the parents explaining all this, of course, in English and Spanish, I would vote for continuing with the sport.
Well, are you putting a motion on the table, Katina?
I am, and I don't know,
So will you say your motion, please? Say it out loud again.
You know, okay, so I move that the Windham Board of Education approves that the sport of football moves on as described by the Director of Athletics, Mr. Thompson, and that we do with the proviso that we send that children can participate as long as the parents sign permission, understanding the risks involved, and not having the Board of Education or any member of the staff liable for any COVID-related situations that might happen.
I second that.
Motion's been put on the table by Katina and seconded by Ilda. I would just like to suggest a friendly amendment to that rather than all those things you said, Katina, about the letter, that they sign a letter drafted by our attorney that covers whatever our attorney thinks needs to be covered.
Thank you. Yes, please add that.
Yeah. Is that friendly amendment?
Motion
By you, Ilda?
the amendment.
Yes,
Okay.
I second that second amendment.
So there's a motion on the floor to move forward, approving 7-on-7 football with a letter being signed by parents whose children are participating in that program as drafted by our attorney before any of the children can participate in a first scrimmage or game. Is there more discussion on that? Yes, Paula.
I would just like to say that I would hope that maybe in the forthcoming days that the CIAC will indeed sanction the 7-on-7. I don't think there's been enough discussion on that. Having heard what our coach has indicated since the last meeting about the care and caution that these kids have taken, when you look at what the 7-on-7 looks like in terms of no contact, passing game only, I would agree with Jaime in that it certainly looks like there's less risk there than playing soccer. So yeah, just for conversation, I would definitely support this motion.
Any other discussion? Tracy Lambert.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, we had some legal information given to us, legal opinion. If we are sued by a parent whose child gets sick because of a sports related in COVID contact, what do we do then? And I'm not trying to be a naysayer. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I want to make sure we're prepared for the ramifications of the decision we make.
I think that the letter is written by our legal consultant, and that I'm sure that the lawyer will include that as a pertinent item.
What if a non-athlete gets it because of contact with an athlete?
Well, why would be a non-athlete having contact with an athlete?
In school, they have to come back to class at some point.
Well,
On Monday after playing on Friday.
And I am going to say that that is a risk we're presently taking us everywhere. I teach in 2 universities and I am at risk. So all our kids are going through that, and maybe we should explore that as a school system. I'm not denying that.
That's fine.
Tracy Lambert, one of the things that we need to do is look at our insurance policy more carefully too.
And I think as a group, we decided that we would instruct Dr. Youngberg to make sure that the coaches know that if contact was known or injury was known and not reported, that sport would be immediately shut down no matter what the sport was.
Right. The board feels very strongly, Coach Thompson, that all the coaches of all the sports should understand that if we get wind of anybody not fully following all the protocols as were outlined in the guidelines, we will take swift action to immediately shut down that sport.
I mean,
Okay.
I want to say something about it. I think at
Yes.
this point, we need to assume that our coaches are very professional and that they do care about our kids. So it's okay to tell them so. I don't think we need to, but I do. They should know that they shouldn't do it. It's unethical, it's unprofessional, and it may cost them a job if they do that. But we should not be warning them, like that. I think. I don't know. It's a little extra going over what the can find the words, but with the trust that we place on these coaches, COVID or not COVID, our kids are being handled by them year after year, month after month, week after week, and day after day. So we need to trust them.
As we're trusting the entire staff to comply with COVID-related, reports and all that, they are doing excellent. So it's an ethical matter, and I believe that all our staff is protecting themselves and our children.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the motion that's on the floor? Okay, if not, I'll take a vote. We'll take a vote on the motion. And Janet, please do a roll call.
Ms. Ide,
Aye.
Dr. Galucci,
Aye.
Mr. Doyle,
No.
Ms. Ray,
Aye.
Ms. Lambert,
No.
Dr. Caban-Owen,
Aye.
Dr. Gomez,
Aye.
Ms. Haney.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Thank you. While we're talking about sports, is there any action that the board would like to take regarding spectator requirements, guidelines? Coach Thompson, gave us some examples of other towns where they do or do not allow spectators from the opposing teams. Just going to put that on the floor because it came up earlier when we were talking with the coach.
Question, are we just talking about in this moment about football or all sports?
All sports. I'm putting it on the table for all sports regarding the guidelines around how we want to deal with spectators. Coach, do you want to say anything about that?
Can I speak?
Jaime, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna present this to Coach Thompson. I'm very concerned about soccer. That's what I know most. Okay, I know it's high contact, and even screens are pretty much contact. So I don't know. I haven't heard what's the plan, and if he mentioned, I missed it. So just my concern. I just want to put it out there for the coach to know and the superintendent. That is the case. That she has something to do.
So, we definitely do have protocols in place. I'll just give an example. Dr. Gomez, the ball, I'll just say the ball boy, whoever is retrieving the ball, we're not going to have them ask them to put their hands on the ball. It would just be
Excuse me, Coach. Excuse me, Coach Thompson.
I didn't know if I was in tonight. I apologize.
No. Could you, Coach Thompson, could you just hold the people who are listening on the phone? There's a lot of background noise. So Jaime, could you please mute your line when you're not speaking, and Paula too? Jaime, thank you.
No noise.
Well, I don't know. It's coming from somewhere, so I'm just looking at the people who aren't muted. Okay, go ahead, Coach Thompson.
So we are still sanitizing all the equipment after. And
No, but we're talking about the spectators.
Okay, so I support the board's decision on where this goes. We do have so basically what we'll put together is a sign-up list, and the athletes will have an opportunity to put two spectators on their list. And I think we should probably just keep it at the per household. And those it should be limited to family. It should be limited to family members. Okay, and they've we'll demonstrate. I will put a letter out to the kids and to bring home to their parents that there is a clear understanding that we are to be socially distant during those competitions, and that they will have to wear their masks. And if this cannot be respected, then we will, if we are allowing spectators, then we are not going to go with spectators. We also do have that, online option when the cameras are installed. My goal right now is, I want to create a safe environment. But if we're going to approve spectators, the two per athlete, we do have rules that will be set in place. I will definitely make sure that it's communicated to the parents.
And how about visiting teams?
Visiting teams will not be permitted to attend our games. That has already been established by the Eastern Connecticut Conference.
And if people show up at the field anyway and start lingering around the fence or whatever, will we take action to ask them to leave?
Well, the first thing I'm definitely going to have done tomorrow, pending the decision, is no spectators, or there is a limit of spectators, per, must be, I'll put the correct wording that, in order to enter, there will be prior approval by the athlete in order for them to attend.
Thank you.
And there will be signs there. And if they are trespassing, then, we will ask them to leave. And if it becomes a problem, we can confront them and let them know that this is going to put the risk of the athletes and the sports, in danger.
Any other board members who have questions or comments?
Yeah, I'm wondering if in the sign up list that you will have per sport, per event, the phone number of the person can be included in case we need
Yes.
to contact tracing
Yes.
at some
Yeah.
point. And I think that would be important.
So just say when we play Griswold and Parish Hill this week, they will be responsible. We will not play a game unless they show up with that sign it, with that list of all their personnel and their athletes that are going to be participating.
I just
Any
have,
other questions?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Tracy.
Hi, Dr. Youngberg.
I've talked about this with Mr. Thompson already, but I just want to reiterate it because in the past, the monitoring of the spectators has been done by staff members, and I already know that there are staff members who have said they're not comfortable doing that. So I just want to make sure that whatever the plan is, it's only with people who are comfortable being in that role. No one can be forced or placed in a rotation to monitor the spectators if they're not comfortable doing that. I want to just make that clear. Okay, and we've already talked about it. I just want to let the board know.
Okay, thank you.
Lynn?
Yes, Paula?
I can't help it, but I would tend to be more concerned about the spectators than I do about the football players. But the option that Mr. Johnson had mentioned about having the TVs and being able to watch it in that venue, is that still something that could be on the table?
Well, he's saying he has the equipment, so that will be happening.
Yes, there will be an installation within, probably the next 2 weeks where they will be able to subscribe to the National Federation High School Sports Network. And I think it's like $5 a month, and they can watch the games.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, so we're going to move forward with 7-on-7. We're going to be clear about spectator protocols for all the sports. And we're going to ask our attorney to draft the permission form that all parents will need to sign off on for 7-on-7. And we are going to look at our insurance policy more closely. Okay? Yes, Coach?
Sorry, should we just say in the meantime, no spectators until we put an announcement and, until, as we look into it, I'm just.
I mean, about as it relates to insurance?
No, sorry. Like, are we, I guess you guys still need to take a vote, but I didn't know if we want to put it aside.
I haven't had anybody make a motion to say no
Okay. I'm sorry.
spectators, so.
My apologies.
No, it's okay. Yep,
Excuse me,
Hilda?
are you asking that because you have a game on Friday? So maybe,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, the game on Friday may not be able to happen if we don't, I mean, there's a scrimmage on Friday for 7-on-7 for a game. We need to have that permission slip signed, so we'll try to expedite it.
Lynn?
Yes.
This is Tracy Lambert. I'd like to make a motion that there are no spectators at any sporting events pending the information from our insurance policies, and that they, when and if they do continue, that they are limited to 2 people per player, and some kind of contact information needs to be obtained.
Okay, the
I would
motion's been
second
put on the
that.
floor by who? Paula seconded it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so any discussion on that?
I just want to say that, like, even major league sports don't have spectators at them.
Right.
It's and these players are kept in cohorts. They practice together. They live together. They're not allowed a lot of outside influence, and it's very carefully regulated. We don't have the ability to do that with our high school students, which is a big part of my concern. it's, you know, the child may get sick and be asymptomatic, but bring it home to a multi-generational household, and one life isn't worth it to me personally. And I would say this if it was my own child who didn't get a graduation this year. One life for one really, really sick child or terminal grandparent or something like that isn't worth it to me for a 7-on-7 football game or a soccer game or a volleyball game or anything else. So I'm really, really concerned about this. But I think that at least until we find out from the insurance company and then we revisit it at our next board meeting, we stay no spectators.
I
agree.
The motion's been made and seconded. Is there any more discussion on it? Yes, Ilda and then Mark. I mean, Katina and then Mark.
And then me.
Yes, I agree with Tracy on all that you just said, Tracy. I have personally attended baseball games in the Donut Park in Hartford. So, you know, it's very contradictory what we're doing as a whole nation. But I think it's safe to say that I agree with the motion.
Mark and then Ilda.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with the motion. Obviously, I don't agree with doing the football at all. But if we approve the 7-on-7 plan, that plan had parental or spectator involvement. I'm sort of torn there in terms of whether, if we've already approved one plan, whether
We're talking about spectators for all the sports
continue
right now.
But I don't disagree with Tracy that nobody's doing spectator sports at this point. So,
Okay, Ilda.
yes, I understood that.
I think if I could amend her motion to just say no spectators until further notice.
Well, that's basically what it.
Well, but she was saying put it in the legal terms and everything. I think we should just keep it simple. Do you agree, Tracy? Don't put the legal terms in there, just until further notice.
We can't hear you, Tracy.
I thought I was unmuted. The big part is that we have to check our insurance policy first, first and foremost. So I wanted to include that in the motion.
It's effectively no spectators until further notice, though, Ilda, regardless of what the motion says. It's effectively what it is. You know, to the public. That's how it would come across. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote, please, Janet.
Ms. Haney.
Aye.
Dr. Gomez.
Aye.
Dr. Cabanowen.
Aye.
Mrs. Lambert.
Aye.
Ms. Ray.
Aye.
Mr. Doyle.
Mark.
Aye.
Dr. Galucci.
I voted yes.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle. Dr. Galucci.
You must have lost her.
Ms. Ide.
Aye.
Oh, sorry. I said aye.
Thank you, Dr.
Thanks,
Galucci.
Mary. Okay, motion carries. Thank you, everybody. I know this is tough stuff. The next item on the agenda is discussion regarding the healthcare fund resolution. It was in your packets. Oh, you all may remember this from 2018. This all started with the management of the healthcare fund. There was a group of people put together, an ad hoc group that represented the Board of Finance, the Board of Ed, and the Town Council to draft up a resolution on how we would oversee and monitor our health insurance fund. This was something that should have been done years ago when we first decided to create this self-insured health insurance fund, and was never done. The town council passed the resolution, I think it was the week before last, and they've asked the Board of Finance and the Board of Ed to affirm that resolution. And, you know, this is basically committing us to do our part to be part of the oversight team that will have oversight from the 3 different boards on this issue. So is there any discussion that, you know, any questions that people have about this?
Need a motion first before we have discussion?
No, because we're taking action under action items on it. So this is just for discussion, if you have any questions.
No, it's something we got to do. I don't see any questions with it.
Yeah.
Right, don't you get a motion in a second before you have discussion?
Not normally on discussion items. Okay, so if nobody else has anything to say, we'll move on to action items. And I know it's getting late and people are getting tired, but we do have 5 action items now. So the first action item is recommended approval of revisions to policy number 6159, individualized education program, special education program. And the background materials were sent out in the packet. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Hilda. Is somebody want to describe what it is that we're taking action on here tonight?
Yeah, Miguel?
Yeah, sure. I wasn't sure if that was for internet for me. This policy has to do with special education and IEPs in particular. It is an existing policy, and the changes that you see are related to new legislation and updates to legislation related to special education. So there's 7 pages, but all of the changes are recommended through CABE of issues or concerns that we need to address in this policy. I can go into deeper explanation if anybody has specific questions.
Anybody have any questions before we take a vote or discussion? Seems pretty clear cut, so I'll call a roll call on the motion that's on the floor.
Ms. Haney,
Aye.
Dr. Gomez,
Aye.
Dr. Cabana-Owen,
Hi.
Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Ms. Ray,
Aye.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Dr. Galucci, Dr. Galucci. Moving on, Ms. Ide.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion carries. Oh, well, I must have had a brain fart and had us vote on the high school sport before we got to this section. So I'm very sorry for that. It's been a long day. So we already took action on that and we don't need to come back to that. So Mary put in the chat, Janet, that she voted aye on the motion that was on the floor previously.
Thank you.
Lynn,
And
that's why,
third item is possible action regarding the healthcare fund resolution, and I'd entertain a motion to affirm this resolution and from anybody who'd like to make that motion.
So moved, Katina.
Second. Hilda,
So
second.
moved by Katina, seconded by Ilda. Is there any discussion? I would just say during discussion that if we affirm this, we have to go ahead and appoint a member from our board to sit on this oversight group. Any further discussion? Okay, so I'll take a roll call vote.
Ms. Haney,
Aye.
Dr. Gomez,
Jaime?
Aye.
Dr. Cabanowen,
Aye.
Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Ms. Ray,
Aye.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Dr. Galucci,
Mary? There must be some technical, oh, aye, she said aye again.
Ms.
Yes.
Ide.
Aye. Okay, then we have two more action items to accept. I'll entertain a motion to accept Alliance and Priority School District Consolidated Grant Application.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, made by Mark, seconded by Ilda. And Mary is saying she can't unmute, so she's gonna have to chat us her votes. Is there any discussion on this? It's good news, great. Okay, take a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Haney,
Aye.
Dr. Gomez,
Aye.
Dr. Cabanowen,
Aye.
Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Ms. Ray,
Aye.
Dr. Galucci, and Ms. Ide.
Aye, and hopefully Mary will type in her response.
She
Yes,
said
she did.
aye.
I've got an aye.
Okay, she said aye, okay. Thank you, Mary. So motion passes, and then the final thing is a motion on the HVAC issue, the $50,000, approving Dr. Youngberg to enter into a $50,000 contract with BT Lindsay for HVAC work.
So moved.
So moved by Tracy Lambert, seconded by Ilda.
Good
Any
job.
discussion? I want to thank Tracy for that great report that she gave that really explained why we need to do this. I don't really think there's any question that we have to move forward. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call a roll call vote, please, Janet.
Ms. Haney,
Aye.
Dr. Gomez,
Aye.
Dr. Cabanowen,
Aye.
Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Ms. Ray,
Aye.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Ms. Ide,
Aye.
and Dr. Galucci in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, so we're up to the end of the agenda, which is public comment. Is there anybody who would like to comment? I don't see anybody in the chat. I don't hear anybody unmuting themselves. So if not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 9:37.
So moved.
Motion made by Ilda, seconded, well, Mary made a motion. Okay, seconded by Mary. Meeting adjourned at 9:37. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.